of, just here and there, push and pull sort of, if at all the two that I have on set will not be agreeing to, the conversation. And I don't know what you think, but it's about age and whether really it should matter, in our relationship. With me is Chebi, unaitwanga Chebet nani?
Marion.
Nani?
Marion.
Chebet Marion, hapana bwana. Oh, Chebet, unajua Chebet si jina I don't know, najua, interestingly, but I don't know. It's because I'm used to calling you Chebet. And so for a moment I'm thinking Chebet is an English name. Chebet is a Nandi sort of name. So Chebet Marion. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
For the very first time on Morning Cafe.
Morning.
You well?
Very well.
Karibu sana. Then we have Kolo, who's now becoming a household name on Morning Cafe. Sasa.
Poa sana.
Salimia watu.
Hi guys, niko viti.
Hivyo tu. Wewe unaitwanga Kolo nani? Kagiri? Ama Kolo nani?
No, my name is Collins Kagiri.
Collins Kagiri. So it's good to have you. So it's on that conversation, and I said I will purpose to make sure that these conversations are all about, the young turks, are all about the youth, are all about these people who are getting into a relationship, and they just want to figure out life. So in the process of figuring out life, you tend to make lots of mistakes, and us who are experienced would love to guide them into directions that are correct. So age is just but a number. We've had of this phrase for the longest time, I know, but at the same time we're asking, does age really matter when it comes to a relationship? Your view?
According to me, I would want to tackle that that question from a neutral point of view. Because yes, at times the age matters, at times it doesn't. Yes.
Does it?
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter across for you.
In some point, it does matter.
Yeah.
But it depends on the age. Because let's say I'm 24, right? So when you tell me I'm supposed to look for somebody aged, I can look for somebody aged 25
and
maybe
above.
Yeah, maybe up to around 30.
Okay.
But now it will matter when I'm having somebody who is younger than me. You see, our thoughts.
Yeah. Worlds apart.
Yes.
What if you get someone who's like 40, 50 and above? As well, your thoughts would not really.
Yeah, he will be too mature maybe for me. Maybe
but they say women mature pretty fast.
Yeah, we do, but still our thoughts won't be the same. Yeah, atakuwa na another thinking. Naona hii yake hapana.
So really, at this point, it's not the age, but the level of maturity and the level of thinking.
Yes.
Okay. So at what point would you say that upper age in a matter, hapa age I matter? What are some of these factors that would get you thinking, upper, while I thought that age doesn't really matter, it really does?
Well, I'll say, the point at which you'll get to, decide that age matters. Let's say I'm 21 years, and then I find this beautiful 35-year-old woman. That is a 14 age gap. That is a 14-year age gap. By default, she has had more exposure than me. So at that point, my thoughts and hers will be two worlds different. So you see, at that point, that is when you'll get to say that age really matters. You see, because her level of thinking and mine are very different.
So really here the problem is the thinking and not,
and the kind of maturity.
How people will perceive you and not how people will look at you. You're introducing, some woman who's slightly older than you to your parents or to your friends and all that uncomfortable moment, if there is any. To you is more of the thinking.
No, it actually matters because, as I've said, I'm 21 years. There's no way I'll go for a 35-year-old woman. She's too old for me. You see, and her thinking is way ahead than me.
What makes you think her thinking is way ahead? And
she has had more exposure than me. That is a 14
What is more exposure? And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we're talking about this Swahili, saying. Is it a proverb saying that says, kuishi kwingi kuona mengi?
Exactly.
Mwingine akasema kutembea kwingi kuona mingi, in the sense that you could be staying in this one area for ages, born here, raised here, bred here, not had a chance to travel abroad, not had a chance to meet very many people in life. that as well is an aspect of maturity, and you get to see a lot of things. And then comes another one that is born right after you, maybe by around 10, 20 years, and they have stayed in this very vicinity that you're in, and then they've traveled the world, they have met different people, they've had different experiences, their own troubles in life get them maturing very fast. And I think you've heard of people who say, hey, I had to mature fast because I lost my mom, so I had to be the mom for the family, I had to be the dad. And so that aspect of maturity, in as much as there's an age gap, you feel like this person has really experienced life. So how then can you say that age is a factor to determine whether a person is mature more than another?
For me, it's not, it doesn't always have to be the case, because at times you may find a younger person who is more, his level of thinking is far much ahead than maybe, let's say a 21-year-old, his level of thinking is far much ahead than a 30-year-old, you see. So it doesn't always have to, it's not a factor, sana, that as you get older, you're more mature. That doesn't always have to be the case.
Yeah.
But then you see, from as I said when we started the show, I'll look at it from a neutral point, because what I believe, we have been conditioned by the society, from kids. Like me as a man, I'm told I must go for a younger woman.
Yeah.
The woman is told he must go for a younger guy. So even if, so that conditioning, so all your mind you have always known, all your life you have always known, I must get married to an older guy. Even if at times you may hear someone saying, I once dated someone who was way older than me, but he's, he was kind of acting childish and all that stuff. And then when I went and dated maybe a younger person, the experience was different. But then, as you have said, we are conditioned to think that way, and to accept that is how.
And I'm glad that you're bringing this aspect of conditioning. Chebet, just who said that it has to be an older man and a younger woman? Who said that that is the standard, gauging of a proper and ideal kind of relationship? Just who said so? And why is it that you feel like as society we have been conditioned to that line, so that you get to a point where you're genuinely in love with this old man, or you're genuinely in love with this younger man? And love is interesting. It doesn't give you the chance to decide where it grows, where it comes from, and all that. But because then the society dictates that, your man has to be older than you, so you have to overlook that aspect of love and get to this as a space.
I think it's not who said, it's something that we found.
Yeah.
Since we were brought up, you found your mom, maybe your mom is 32, your dad is around maybe 40 or 37. You see, there's like an age gap of 5 to 7 years. To them, it was the woman must be younger than the husband, because according to them, it was maybe respect, the wife must be submissive to the husband. But you see now, akienda up at the husband is younger than the wife, they tend to think, huyu atamkalia, you see, atamkalia, because yeye ni mkubwa. Like when I say something, it will have to go since I'm the older person than him. And in instances you get, since I'm the older one, it means I'm making more money than him. Again,
that's perception.
So I'll obviously dictate everything that will happen in the relationship.
Right.
Leo nikisema najisikia sisiki kuja home, he won't have anything to kuniambia kwa nini hutaki kuja home. Mozo mimi ndo breadwinner, I'm the one paying the rent, so he won't have a say in anything. So I guess that's what they're thinking. That's what they thought, that the man must have a bigger age gap than the wife, so that there's some kind of respect.
Society is changing today, and today the woman, like you say, is also a breadwinner, contrary to what was there back then, maybe because we had not advanced as society. And so today you'll find a woman wakes up in the morning. I am here very early in the morning. My husband perhaps is not even out of the house by then. They equally go out, and at the end of the day we're coming, this is what we have brought on the table. So that means that story of who fends for the family and everything is now a little bit different from what it was like back then. So there are people who have the gut, or have had the gut, to challenge the status quo, in the sense that today they will love people who are younger than them, or tomorrow they will decide to love people who are way older than them. Do you suppose that we're coming to a point where society is going to change this notion of saying that it's the man that always has to be an old one, as the trends are taking shape?
We're in changing times, and so the more tunaendelea, the more vitu zinaenda zikibadilika. So it won't happen maybe in the next maybe 10, 20 years. Itachukua time before people can actually accept the fact that I can comfortably date an older woman, na society itaanza kuniangalia unaona, ama let's say like for a woman she won't date like let's say she's 21, ataenda kudate mzee wa miaka 50 and society look at her, itafika mahali whereby itakuwa normalized.
It's a normal thing.
But then pia also remember, let's say as I said I'm 21, if I go for let's say a 40-year-old woman, high chances ni this woman will look at me like you'll see a man, you'll see a boy. Okay. That is the biggest problem.
Okay.
Sasa unaona, because ameconditioniwa kuona hivyo from a young age, so lazima mwanaume ya kuaula. So whenever you come and you are younger, most of the time, most of the cases, atenda kukuona kama kijana, you'll never see you as a man. So hata ukisema kitu, atatenda tu kukuchallenge.
In a relationship, what are we supposed to see? Are we supposed to see love, or we're supposed to see material things? And I mean, you always complain here that women are looking for material stuff. What are we really supposed to see when you're deciding that, this is my partner, either for life or for this short period? What is this that you're supposed to see? You're supposed to see, and I mean, sometimes we talk about differentiating between boys and men.
Yeah.
But for as long as you've gotten to an age where you can sire, you can procreate, you can you can make babies, you have officially shifted from that space of being considered a boy, And so when we're saying a boy, and this is what I'm saying, imagine a woman who is 60 years old and they're talking to a man who is 40 years old. There's no way this man is a boy. Kolo, there's no way this man is a boy. So in such a scenario, what are we supposed to see? Is it because we tend to look at material stuff, we tend to look at age instead of looking at the core aspect of a relationship or love?
Unfortunately, that is what a lot of people look at. People don't tend to look at love, nini. People, for most of the case inakuanga, people tend to look at age. Unaona? And also pia, as I said before, let's nirudie, from a neutral point pia, let's say I'm 30 years old and then I go for a 21-year-old girl. We can look at it in two ways. She's younger than me, as society dictates, na in condition kuona hivyo. But then it can also come in these two ways. One, it might be genuine, nampenda. Two, it may also come from a point of she's young than me, hana exposure kuniliko, so I'm taking advantage of the situation and manipulating her. Unaona? Also for a woman, unaweza pata maybe a 20-year-old looking at a 40-year-old. Whenever ikifika ni wasichana na vijana, you tend to look at things different. For her, maybe ataona, you see, what they normally say, men my age wako na utoto mingi sana, they want to settle, na hiyo story yote wanasemanga na bado hajajipanga financially. No, relax, wacha nimalize. Protect me, Alela.
You're protected.
No, wacha nimalize. Sijamuinterrupt. No, sijamuinterrupt.
Before he continues, so I have a question. What's the reason what was your reason? Ini tunafikiria. Yes, you said you will maybe date a 21-year-old, right? So what's the reason for you to date this one? Is it because of love? One, is it because maybe she's young? Two, is it three? What are you looking for?
Is it because you're able to to now
manipulate? She's young, yes.
And that no wonder, I guess nimejibu swali ananiuliza. Si nimetoka tu hapa kusema we can look at it from 2 points, ndio. Maybe one, it might be genuine nikienda this young woman of 21 years. It is love, pure love. Na hii inaweza kuwa I'm taking advantage that hana exposure, I will easily manipulate her. Si nipo nimetoka kusema.
But will it work?
Now that's a question. And let me ask you, imagine a scenario where you march into a class, or you march into a space, and there's this beautiful woman, and they sort of look younger than you from what society perceives, and they're so beautiful, and you sort of fall in love with them, and you think, this is a woman I would want to, date, this is a woman I want to, then you approach them. And sometimes when you meet these people, you don't approach them on the onset. It takes time. Maybe you take a week or 2 or 3. And in this moment, you continue falling in love with them more and deeper. And then you approach them and then you realize that they are 5 years older than you. What do you do?
Mimi kama mwanaume, nipate mwanamke is 5 years older than me.
Hapo ama una...
Okay, for me, I'll say inalingana na mtu. inalingana na mtu. Maybe let's say maybe inalingana na
if she's comfortable dating you.
No, even as the man, am I comfortable dating an older woman than me?
Is it possible for you to cater those feelings immediately? Ni mzee.
I don't know. Naona nilisema hii situation inakuanga very neutral. Hii ni conversation haitawai. Yeah, because kiti bana.
Sawa, ukifix kiti yako. Sometimes even height, and Chebi is relatively a tall lady.
Yes.
And you know, tell women na tena pia kidogo tunakuanga na kibarua kwa sababu kupata tu mtu tena mrefu ni harambe. And the difficulty that comes with that. So beyond the age, there's that aspect of structure, physique and all that. And again, society perceives that the man should be taller.
Tall. Obviously, me, I'm tall, so there's no way I'm gonna go for somebody
who's shorter.
Yes.
So that means your chances are limited. Yani una watu wengi hapa. Yani
and then the funny thing ni easy times as
why amesema hawezi endea kijana mfupi kumliko. So I'm going to ask you. What if you find the shorter guy than you treats you better? Loves you genuinely?
Ama there's no even room for you to have a conversation mpaka ifike mahali anakufanyia anything better.
Sasa when ikifika hapo now, it will now depend on how short he is. You know, but let's be honest, Kolo. Tukue too honest, Alela. Let's be honest. Can you date somebody, maybe me, I'm this tall, right? And then when you stand with the guy, when we're with the guy, I can't even wear heels.
Right.
Because I will be like now double taller. Maybe unpatana nifika somewhere, you see.
And now you have to limit yourself.
Exactly.
So much.
I want to do some other things. Ana tukitembea naye, it will be hard for somebody to picture us as couples. Maybe huyu
relationship. No,
exactly.
I'm going to ask a relationship ni ya society ama ni yako.
Yeah, it's mine, but it's a picture.
Wachana na picture. That is not the problem in
it will be hard convincing somebody I'm dating this guy. You see,
why do you need to convince them?
No, it's
wachana nayo.
And then you see,
you date a taller woman.
Nani mimi?
Yes.
Kukushinda.
Mimi sina shida.
Kolo tuambie ukweli.
Stop lying.
You think you're never going to be uncomfortable at any point?
Nani?
Even introducing them to your friends, walking around with them. She would be uncomfortable. You know, when she's going to buy her shoes, she has to look for flat shoes.
Flat shoes, exactly.
As I said, nimetoka tu kusema. It all depends na mtu. You the woman, are you comfortable dating this shorter guy? You the man, are you comfortable dating the taller woman than you? It all depends na mtu.
Yeah,
we can't really say you lingana tu.
And I think it brings us to that point where we say then there are people who have the courage or have had the courage to challenge the status quo.
Yes, exactly.
It's fine. You could be shorter than me, well and good. Just how much, first of all, let me ask, have you ever dated a man who's way older than you or younger than you? Or would you?
I haven't dated anyone who's younger than me, but maybe older than me by maybe around 4. It was good.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's
fair enough.
Because reasoning yetu at least, yes, atakuwa anaweza kuwa na different reasoning but kuliko yangu, but at the long run tutakuja, we compromise. Nimwambie me I want this. Yeah, niambie me I want this. And then we compromise, you see.
How much of an age gap is okay for you?
5.
5 is fine.
Yes,
10?
5 is fine. I know 10 is
10 is too much, you think?
Yes.
During my times, we used to be told 10 is the best.
But now you see, the problem is, the 10 year amemaliza like...
Gen Z.
Yes, amemaliza living life. You see me...
Amemaliza namna gani bwana? Life with
this
40.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hapana, but you see somebody like that, hawezi mwambia, leo...
Twende party. Okay.
Exactly. You see, party, okay. Yes, twende party. Me, I'm still young. Bado niko na hiyo. At the wiki kisha, I'm tired. I want to unwind my week. So, what's the best thing to do? Call up my girls, twendeni out. But you see, when you have a 10-year age gap with a man, umwambie mimi naenda out.
What if you get to a space what if you get to a space where you see now, okay, well, nime party all I can and enough is enough, and so can you get someone who's 10?
That's maybe when I'm around 29 or 30.
Chebi just told us her age in case you were not keen enough and leave you asking questions as to who ni nini.
Ametoka tu kusema, you know, when you want to go to on a weekend, do nini whenever you tell a younger guy, and I'm like, even these older men, they're never comfortable with the woman going out. I'm going with the girls.
So that's where our thinking now starts.
Nasema kule ama nasema uongo?
To a large extent.
It's true, it's true. But it's also about the level of trust. You trust me enough to go out?
Italingana, have you proved yourself enough?
Obviously, by the time I'm with you, tumekaa nawe for around maybe, let's say, more than 6 months. By then, nafaa kuwa najua, if you trust me enough, kuniacha, I go out.
How much of compromises can you make because of age in a relationship? And when I say compromises, I think we've spoken to the fact that sometimes you have to go and look at the heels. Unasema hizi heels wacha niache for purposes of just making him comfortable and me being comfortable and square extra tall. That you know, sometimes they are way older than you, but they're willing to say, you know what, baby, I understand that you need to have a moment with the girls. I understand that you need to go out. Fine, I'll allow you. Please, when you're done, let me know so that I can pick you. Or let's join, you know, and go. Sometimes you have to go to some older men or way older people just so you know, they can show you off to their fellow friends and all that. And so you have to look at this environment where you're thinking, well, Nima oldie, but it's fine. I can compromise and be there for purposes of making him happy. Just how much can you compromise just because of the aspect of age? You can't.
I can. Hapo sasa ndo mapenzi inaingilianga.
Yes.
If you love the guy too much, he's short and he feels uncomfortable with you wearing your heels.
Or maybe you feel uncomfortable that you're way taller.
Yeah, I'm way taller than him. So that's why I'll compromise.
Yeah.
I won't put on the heels. I'll put on maybe rubber shoes or flat shoes, you see, so that I can make him and me more comfortable.
Yeah.
Asionekane mimi ni mrefu, yeye ni mfupi, you see. That's why I can compromise.
Right.
I can also compromise going with him to, not this older guys, they have hizi vitu za ofisi, like the office, and then he's told come with a +1, and then you see unakuja unajiangalia, you're somehow younger, he's older, so meaning his group of friends need the same age, and maybe his group of friends, the ones married to him, what maybe they are the same age, so unaanza kuangalia itakuwa a bit, you'll be a bit uncomfortable off, because the topic yenye mtakuwa wanaongelea, it won't maybe be the same as you get. Yeah, so maybe such things you can compromise. You say, I love the guy, I want to make this work. So
let me just do. How much can you compromise for her, and what age gap is comfortable or is okay for you?
For me, swali ni ngumu.
Ngumu kwa nini?
Older
is a no. Given a choice,
older.
You don't want.
I maybe 2-3 years maximum. 2-3
years. Not same age, fine. Same age you can manage.
Like there's no way I'll go for 15 or a 10-year-old, a woman who's 10 years older than
you. No matter how good they look.
Looking.
And how young. I mean, looks can deceive. That's why we keep saying. And how stable they are. Stable is also a factor.
Yeah. Stable has never been a factor for me nikiendea msichana.
Is it?
Why do I need a woman who is only stable?
Who's moneyed?
For anisaidia na nini?
So
is it not easier for you to manage your finances if she can manage hers? Without troubling you.
Si lazima kuwe ati all that financially stable ati hivyo. Bora tu this.
Unaogopa challenge.
Challenge gani?
But if she is
well and good. Well and good. Well,
ni sawa pia. Mwenye hayuko stable.
Nani?
Sasa huyu hana kolo nataka kolo sina kolo nywele kolo what?
Okay, vitu
that is the reason
times are changing.
Okay.
Walifika point wanaume kachoka na wasichana hawana pesa.
Wow. So you won't.
Nani?
Would you?
Demana pesa? Ai, itakuwa ngumu. Itakuwa ngumu. No, itakuwa ngumu.
I mean tufungie issue hapa because we've lost it. Because you see Kolo, this is what we assume is correct as society. That it's for a man to provide, and therefore true. If a woman comes, and most of our parents or mamas will tell you, tulikuwa tunakuja mkono mtu hivi tu, hata nguo kuna zile zenye ulikuwa nazo unaacha nyumbani unakuja kununuliwa.
Hiyo iliwa kiasi.
At the same way, hiyo miaka ilikuwa mwanaume lazima akue.
True.
The same way, hiyo miaka ilikuwa maybe mwanaume lazima akue taller than the woman. The same way, hiyo miaka it was the man who is.
Hiyo ilikuwa for me I'll say it was only.
So can we all comfortably say that age does not really matter then because times are changing?
We can say we can just tackle it from a neutral point. In conversation itawaisha. Neutral point, that is all we can say. We just leave it at that. It's a neutral conversation.
It depends with what it is that makes you happy.
Maybe someone else will be comfortable dating a 20-year-old woman who is 20 years older than him. Atakuwa very comfortable. Mwingine kama mimi sitakuwa comfortable. Unaona?
All depends. You see also the society is also changing. Like you see me, my mom she's in the breadwinner because all of them are working.
Yes.
But aliturezile point ile style ya kuwa mkubwa, kuwa na zako.
Yes.
Have your own
Yes.
money. Even if it reaches a point you want to date someone,
at
least ile saa mnapatana you are stable enough. You get. See as kupate ile hauna anything.
Exactly.
You get. So me, my mom, she could come with her friends. They have fun at the house, drinks, their wine, and they're like, no, nyinyi hamwezi kunywa, and then kweni wakubwa mtafute pesa za zenyu. You see, society inafika mahali yenye mimi nikiamua date Kolo sahi, see I have my own house, everything. So naweza mwambia Kolo, come stay. It's not a must mimi ati ndio move in niende kwake. You see.
Lakini
would you comfortably do that? Tell him to come move in.
Nyumba ulipi mwanaume usiende. Hapana.
Nyumba ulipi mwanaume usiende.
Usiingie.
But I'm the one paying.
Hapana. Hapana. Tumeona wanaume wengi wamepigwa huko na walidanganywa tu mimi.
Wamepigwa na nani?
Si wamekuwa na wenye wanalipa nyumba.
What makes you think she cannot pay?
It is very risky. Manze ni risky.
What do you mean it's risky? Chebet has made it very clear that she does pay for her own rent.
And I want you to come over.
Yes.
Me I'll feel uncomfortable.
And you are in love and you are a
exactly.
couple.
You won't compromise.
Nitajuaje akona mbaba kando.
But you won't compromise.
Why does it
you
have to be?
You love me, I love you.
That?
You won't compromise to move in with me.
Move in with you?
So that you can make things work. Even if it's not moving in, coming kuja once in a while, you see. You won't compromise.
Once in a while you can consider.
Tuongea tukifika hapo.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm telling you, society ina change.
Do you think as society changes, and this should be our parting shot, we have said that we leave it on a very neutral ground. But at what point do you get comfortable with this fact that, you know what, Linda, he's older than me. You know what, and when I say old, old is good, but old a 30-year gap, which is so common today, and that society is changing. You know what, Linda, he's way younger than me, but I am in love. What, you know, how long do you think most of these people will get to make peace with that? Because like we have said, you know, reality dawns as you continue living life, you know. Reality dawns when you are meeting your friends and they're all, you know, looking bubbly, and they're a beautiful couple, and beautiful in this case, you know, the man is slightly older and you're slightly younger and looks like it's perfection, and yours is an old man, and you have to explain to people this is this, or you have to explain to yourself. So how long until you come to that aspect of reality that really it's not about society, it's about me?
For me, it's all a personal choice. Na pia also remember, kama tunasema ni personal choice, let us always remember that society will always judge you, whether you like it or not. But let's say for me, if you want to go, as a man, if you want to date an older woman than you, kwanza kaa chini, assess your mental state, uone kama unaweza handle her level of maturity and her level of thinking. If you can be able to handle that, hata kama yako iko juu, well and good.
Would it be good to have a conversation around that before you successfully sit down and say, it's fine, we are okay. You know what, babe, you are shorter than me, but it's fine. That should not worry you. That should know. And sometimes these conversations can be quite intimidating and uncomfortable to have, Chibi.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with Kolo. It's all a personal choice. Because by the time we are dating, nishajua umse ni mfupi kuniliko. Umse maybe hana do kuniliko. You see, so we'll sit down. We'll agree. Hizi ni vitu lazima to face. In one way or another, we'll have to face them. So we sit down, we agree. But at the long run, we just lazima to accept society, lazima itanjudge. If they see me with a 50-year-old man, obviously watasema,
Baba.
Chebi huyu ni do.
My friend ni do. That's the assumption outright, yes.
But according to wewe, it's not the money. You see, you guys met, muka click, you fell in love. So at the end run, hata kama mta agree, you know this and this will always be your challenge. Society lazima itakujaji. Hata mimi nikiamua nimpeleke kwa madhesa hii, madhesa anaangalia. Hai. You see, at the out of
utakuita kwa jikoni huko wakwambie
hata hizo blessings za mwisho they won't agree with you. But sasa ni wewe mwenyewe, it's you, it's your life. See,
how do you manage these insecurities, because they will constantly be there, you know, as a couple? So again, do we get from that space where we say on the onset we have had a conversation on this, but you know, keep reminding her that it's fine, you are way younger than me, but I love you the way you are. It is fine, you are way older than me. It's not for the money that we're here because we make each other happy. Should we have this constant conversation for purposes of keeping it afloat?
For me, I'll say relationship will really test you. If you're strong enough to handle, like, let's say, it's a compromise you're willing to make, the relationship and the society will really test you. If you're strong enough, well and good for you. If you are weak, manze itaanguka.
Toka na mapema.
Toka mapema. Kama unajua uwezi handle, And at times, at times you need to think at it from a point of logic, not from a point of emotion. Unaona? Logic, nitaweza kuhandle you know, a shorter man than me. Will I be comfortable as a man dating an older woman than me? Not from a logic point of view, not an emotional. Kama you can be comfortable doing that, well and good.
Yeah, you move. If you can be
but always remember
kuwa aside with your parents because hao wamekata the guy and you are in for the guy. If you can be comfortable with guys, all people, society always talking behind your back. If you can be comfortable with people, mnenda in a gathering, watu wanawasegregate because you see, if you're comfortable to deal with all that, then you're
good to go.
But kaa wezi, chana nayo.
Chana na mapema because it will affect you.
Jitoe mapema because by the time una realize uwezani nayo, maybe you are in too deep.
I know Chebi and Kulu are saying that we should deal with this at a very natural aspect. I sort of agree to that, but I also would want to confidently say that in as much as we want to overlook some of these matters, it will take a while for us to successfully challenge that status quo. At some point in time, he's way older than you, you'll feel ish-ish. At some point in time, he's way younger than you, there's going to be that ish-ish. But bottom line is, have you worked, have you spoken to your mind, have you spoken to each other and reached a